6 weeks after the Lok Sabha results of 2019, the Congress party remains in disarray. After Rahul Gandhi stepped down from the party's presidency, a number of senior leaders have also stepped down from their posts. Meanwhile, in Karnataka, a number of Congress MLAs have jumped ship, putting the continuity of the government in the state in question. Joining us to talk about the state of the Congress party right now is political analyst Tehseen Poonawalla and journalist and author Rasheed Kidwai. Tehseen, let me start with you. A state of disbelief after the results for a few days and then not knowing where to go. That could have been understandable for a few days, a week, 2 weeks. It's been 6 weeks and the party still looks like it doesn't know where to go next. What do you make of where the party finds itself right now?
I think the Congress today is stuck in a dilemma. We have to understand one thing. Rahul Gandhi has been unfairly blamed for 2 defeats, especially the 2014 defeat. He was not a part of the government, he was just an ordinary MP. The same people who were responsible for the defeat in 2014 continue to be responsible for the 2019 defeat. You must ask them which states did they campaign in. If you expect the captain to perform, you must give him the team of his choice. How can the captain perform without a team of his choice or her choice? Rahul Gandhi, coming to the Karnataka context since you brought it up, outmaneuvered and outsmarted Amit Shah ji and formed the government in Karnataka. Today, why can't a non-Gandhi, because the media speaks so much about a non-Gandhi, save the government in Karnataka? There you depend on the Gandhis to save it. So the point that I'm trying to make, and I want to end my point simply by saying this, that Rahul Gandhi has been unfairly targeted. This defeat has been put unfairly on Rahul Gandhi. Now is the time for Rahul Gandhi to get to cleanse this party. The manthan must happen. The poison must go on one side and be thrown away, and the Amrit must come into the Congress.
Yeah, but then, Tehseen, the funny thing here is that he's not taking the resignation back. You have a void of who's the leader of the party right now. You've seen around the world when political parties undergo changes after defeats, you have a process of elections to select a new leader. I spoke with Tarun Gogoi a few weeks ago when this resignation first came up, and he was almost in a hope that this wouldn't be so, because I asked for what step the party was going to take next, and there was no direct answer. So in terms of just process right now, when you say a manthan must happen, is there any institutional memory left of when and how to select a party president out of an election process or whatever there might be? Because the last that we had a non-Gandhi party president was 1998 when Mr. Sitaram Kesari stepped down. Is the party in a functional way ready to say, here's how we select a new leader?
Your question has too many contradictions in it, because if you're talking about an election, the last election that the Congress party had was in 2017.
Okay.
All these elections are approved by the Election Commission of India. Please understand that. There is no election in the BJP for a president, but the Congress has a process of election. Now, you and I can debate here whether this election is an absolute election or no, or the process of that election. But the Congress is the only political party to have a process of election, and the Gandhis, whether it is Mrs. Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, or it's Rahul, they've been elected as presidents, not selected. Having said that, look, the problem in the party is not about the old guards versus the new guards. This must be a problem about competent people versus incompetent people. And as long as the incompetent people continue to occupy posts, the party will not rise. So we need to bring in the competent people in. I think Rahul Gandhi must get the leeway to continue to lead this party as the star campaigner, as the power, as the force behind the party, the adhesive that holds the party. Let there be an interim president who can take the party through these 3 state elections that are going to happen. Post that, we can decide whether Rahul Gandhi again takes over, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra takes over, and takes this party towards 2024. We also need to focus on 2022, which is the Uttar Pradesh elections that the party needs to look at. And I do believe once you're down in the barrels, in the dumps, there's only one way to go, and that is up. And I believe now with this manthan process, the Congress will start to rise.
Okay, I'll come back to some of those points in a bit. Rasheed Kidwai, you've written 2 books on the Congress party, and having observed it over decades, the point in 1999 when it fell to then its lowest tally to come back only to power 5 years later to right now, losing power in 77, losing power in 89. I just wanted to get a sense of, in the historical context, the Congress is known to find it difficult in particular states. Once it loses power, it finds it hard to come back. Is the institutional architecture of the party right now have a base enough to come back and rebuild, even if it's not a cadre-based organization? Just put into context previous losses and this one, and how to come back and rebuild for the Congress party.
I think this time around this task is extremely difficult because the Congress seems to be losing a major ideological battle vis-a-vis the rise of BJP, Sangh Parivar, and so to say, Hindutva or majoritarianism. The Congress does not have a recipe to counter it. It tried hard to be a kind of, B team, try to peddle some kind of, soft Hindutva and all that, but it didn't work. Second thing is that Congress is not mentally and psychologically in a position to grapple what is happening in what I call it alternative or a planet called social media. It is not a technology-driven party. So as a result, in terms of optics, I mean, all the issues of whether it was Shabano or Babri or all those, so to say, Muslim appeasement, things of 1980s and 90s when they didn't make an impact on the politics of that era seems to be making some kind of impact now because a kind of narrative, a manufactured narrative has been dished out and a younger generation, people below the age of 35, have bought that, kind of narrative that Congress has been appeasing to, catering to minorities or so. So both in terms of ideological level, technological front or at the physical front, the Congress is slipping, and that is why it's basically has just one recipe. You win an election and you come back. There is no other, plan it has.
Tehseen, are there any lessons on how at a state level the party was able to claw back in the states across central India that had elections in December, of being able to say, fair enough, the BJP's had a long stronghold in those states and then have a campaign that's able to succeed? Are there lessons at all from there in how to be able to paint a BJP government by the time this one will end its term, will be 10 years in power, to say we are the change that you want and go out and seek votes?
Yeah, absolutely. And the lessons from the three state elections and even in Gujarat where you came very close is that you keep the deadwood out. When Rahul Gandhi led the campaign independently in the three states without the Delhi, so-called Delhi leaders interfering in them, because none of these Delhi leaders sitting there in the CWC, most of them are not mass leaders. When is the last time they fought an election? So without them, when Rahul Gandhi campaigned and fought a battle with a team of his choice, we saw the success he had in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan, and in Chhattisgarh. Even in Gujarat, he came very close until, Mani Shankar Iyer triggered a crisis with the idiotic remarks that he made, and then, the entire crisis happened, and of course the Prime Minister's emotional appeal. But even Gujarat, in that sense, was extremely close for the Congress and a scare for the BJP. What I'm trying to make, the point that I'm trying to make is I concur with Rasheed Saab. You need to come down to what is the ideology of the Congress. And the ideology of the Congress is, it is the original Hindu nationalist party, which is a secular party which has equal opportunities for everybody. Today, what is the state of the Congress? The BJP brands the Congress as a Muslim appeasing party, but wherever Muslims get an opportunity, they do not vote for the Congress, they vote for another party. Whether it's Uttar Pradesh, it's West Bengal, it's any Maharashtra, it's other states. So the Congress has no base left. The Congress was originally built on the base of Brahmin, Dalits, Muslims, and then you had the other castes voting for the Congress. The Congress must go back to the Ganga Jamuna Tehzeeb. It must go back to being the Ganga, accommodating everybody, but it must be the party that has its ideology in the forefront. It cannot be a party that is left socialist party. This left socialism is defeating the party, as are the deadwoods in the party. And I'll end by saying one more example. I'll give you an example. Sudhindra Kulkarni, the other day is writing an article or he's tweeting, Rahul Gandhi, I am with you, rebuild the party. He took Advani down, Sudhindra Kulkarni. I mean, we don't need people like this. The Congress is capable of building itself without these deadwoods from Delhi. It can build itself. It has original mass leaders, and these are the people who need to be empowered.
Mr. Kidwai, the characteristics that Tehseen just gave to what the original Congress position in the Indian political idea was, would it be fair to say that he's referring to a Congress that ended in the late 60s with the split that happened, that the party might have recovered the Indian National Congress label, but the Congress as the party then onwards, 67 onwards, became a party led by a Gandhi and lost those characteristics of being an umbrella where there were multiple leaders whose ideas often clashed with each other and a debate happened. That this is not the Indian National Congress of the freedom movement or the first 20 years, but a Gandhi-led party with a single leader as an idea 67 onwards to now.
Yes, I don't think the congressmen of hue and shade were concerned about their kind of ideological position and all this, as long as they were winning. I mean, Indira Gandhi kept winning, and then she lost, and then she came back, and then Rajiv Gandhi won, and then he was about to come back when he was assassinated. So there was another Narasimha Rao government, Congress rule continued, and then UPA government. So the Congress was not unduly agitated about, kind of absence of ideology and all. The real problem was whenever there is a kind of emotive issue, the Congress falls between two stools, whether it was this Mandal agitation, Ayodhya movement, all such times. Now that Mr. Modi and BJP have been able to, organize a religion for a political purpose, the Congress is finding itself inadequate in terms of any kind of ideology or numbers, and therefore it has no strategy. No matter. So it just wants to work out alliances and have some kind of thing, some kind of Manmohan Desai winning formula when it's not there.
All right. Tehseen, I want to bring up two particular tweets that caught my attention in the last few days. The way Mr. Chidambaram reacted to the parcel that the finance minister carried into parliament, made mention of an iPad and spoke of our Congress finance minister will bring an iPad in, almost presuming that in the future there was going to be a Congress government with a Congress finance minister. Does that sound in any way entitled, almost as if it is the natural party to govern this country? One. And the second was the tweet that Sanjay Nirupam put out over the weekend, hitting out very, very thinly veiled out at Milind Deora, that this is a party that's right now not engaging in too much conversation after the election with the public media, but its contradictions within itself are surfacing on social media and in other places. In terms of strategy, being able to counter the Prime Minister's Kamdar Namdar phraseology, any success with that, how does that go forward? B, if you're not engaging to put your way through, why then find other ways to voice and surface dissent?
So two quick points. On Chidambaram ji, I actually agree with the idea because the Congress has to start believing it will start winning elections. Look, in 2013, I remember my uncle telling me, have you seen Modi, Chief Minister Modi? He looks like he's the Prime Minister in waiting, the body language. You've got to believe in that. Cut to 2019, the Congress could not even project a Prime Minister, though I thought Rahul Gandhi should have been projected as Prime Minister. I am voting for Rahul Gandhi. I'm not voting for Akhilesh Yadav, Mayawati. When you leave confusion in and you don't believe in your own abilities, the people won't believe in you. You owe it to the 12 crore people who voted for you, plus the others who are Congress loyalists, to show that Rahul Gandhi will be Prime Minister, Priyanka Gandhi, whoever is going to be Prime Minister in the future. But you've got to believe that you're going to be in government. Belief is everything. The second point. Look, I keep coming back onto the point of Milind, Jyotir, Sachin Pilot, Dipinder Hooda. These are people who are born in the Congress family. They have years and years and decades of loyalty to the family. It's not their loyalty, it's the loyalty of their parents, whether it's Deora Saab, whether it's Bhupinder Hooda Saab, whether it's Madhav Rao Scindia, Rajesh Pilot Saab, etc. We need to go back to these people. These are people who understand the Congress. The problem and the bane with the Congress has been outsiders who come and try and impose another culture on the Congress. The Congress culture is a very inclusive culture. We need to understand, and nobody understands Congress better than Murli Diora's son Milind Diora, Rajesh Pilot's son Sachin Pilot. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. We celebrate Anurag Thakur, we celebrate Yadurappa's son, we celebrate Vasundhara Raje's son. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think the Congress must go back to its roots, must go back to its loyalists, must go back to those people. You know, the other day, and I want to end this because I have another show to go on, but I quickly want to end this. The other day I heard somebody talking about Rahman Khan Saab on a Karnataka show. You know, do you know the contribution of Rahman Khan Saab and his family to the Congress? You know, you often hear people being, you know, mocking seniors or people who've had years and decades of loyalty to the Congress. Their families have given their life, sweat, blood, money, jewelry to the Congress to build the organization.
I know you have to go.
These are your loyalists. They're loyal to the Gandhi family. They're loyal to the Congress. They must be celebrated.
Fair enough.
They must be celebrated. These outsiders should not have no right to comment on
Fair
them.
enough. I'm going to flip that. One quick last question to you, Tehseen, before we let you go. In that case, then, this is a strange situation where somebody like Himanta Biswa Sarma found no place in the party because he went up against the rigidity of some of those families, particularly in his state and then in Delhi. But the BJP found no issue with saying, oh, there is a question of loyalty because this has been somebody who's been in the Congress for 15 years. You adopt him, and he's pretty much, Mr. Sarma has pretty much rebuilt or built the BJP in the Northeast. So just on that point, if loyalty is to be measured by how many years families have been in the party, then there is no place for leaders like that who had strong ground architectural ability to build a party.
That's true. I've understood your question. That's true. I've understood your question. You're absolutely right on what you said. So I'm not saying there's one jacket that fits all. I'm just saying that you need to look at loyalty as a very important criteria. But more than loyalty, what is the first term that I used? Competence versus incompetence. You need to look at absolute competence. So this is not a battle of the old guard versus the new guard. This is a battle of the competence versus the incompetent. So Jyotiraditya is also competent and Kamal Nath is also competent. Sachin is also competent. Ashok Gehlot is also competent. Yet you have a Mani Shankar Iyer who's absolutely incompetent. You don't need him in the party. So the fact is, you have Ajay Maken. He's a loyalist. He's been his uncle was Lalit Maken was in the Congress, but he's incompetent. So you need to identify loyalty, yes, but more than loyalty must be competent and incompetent. If you have an incompetent person, whether he's been in the party for decades or his father or grandfather, they need to be shown the door. Competent people must be there. That rule must apply to everybody. Then comes the next test of loyalty.
All right. Tehseen, we'll let you go there. Rasheed Kidwai, one last question to you. Again, I'm just going back in time. At a time when Narasimha Rao was party president and prime minister, and through Mr. Kesari's term, even then, before Sonia Gandhi formally joined active politics, you have Mr. Rao's written word about not knowing how to handle in the shadows, representation that would be made on behalf of Mrs. Gandhi at that point of time. So even if this is a party that is not formally led by any member of that family as Mr. Rahul Gandhi wants it to be, is their presence something that any future leader of the Congress will still be wary about?
I think so. I think the Congress is very indebted to Nehru Gandhi family for giving them several shots at power since 1969 onwards, after Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. This is a kind of unique relationship. What is being said about Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao. Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, let's not forget, he was also a politician. He was, he did not campaign in that 1991 election, and yet he was made, Congress president and prime minister. His contribution to that victory was next to nothing, and yet he went on to, get a place in history. So one can, debate on both sides what Mr. Narasimha Rao said and what he meant and what he did. There was, remember, he was a politician among politicians. He did this famous Jain Hawala case and got a lot of Congress people tainted. So there were great deal of politics was there. But anyway, I don't want to get into it. To cut the story short, average congressman is hugely indebted to Nehru Gandhi family. They don't want to snap links with the family. Family also needs the Congress party because of whether it's Christian Missile issue or national health. There are a lot of allegations of corruption, and they think if Narendra Modi government turns vindictive, they would need a party organization to defend themselves. So it is a kind of equation of hopelessly, they are dependent on one another. I think this will continue because, as you said, that Namdar, Kamdar narrative is working. So therefore, Rahul Gandhi wisely thought that not to be a leader. I think whoever comes, a panel of leaders, Gandhis will be very much part of it behind the scene, and they all are looking for an opportunity, one opening, whether it's in UP, Bihar. Remember, regional parties are also collapsing. Congress is a national party. I mean, nothing can be worse than what it is today. So they are hoping for some kind of silver lining.
All right. On that note, Tehseen Poonawalla, Rasheed Kidwai, thank you for making time for this conversation on the state of the Indian National Congress right now. If you have been, thank you for watching.